on Fox Footy at 8:30. As I mentioned earlier, there's been plenty of drama surrounding the St Kilda Richmond side, none the least of which has been the injury yet again to Paddy McCartan, this time not concussion. You can see it there. He dives on the ball. Blundstone comes in over the top and appears to ram into that shoulder, and it has been confirmed he has broken his collarbone. So this is just a terrible season for Paddy McCartan. He's had in total now in his short career 3 concussions, and now this collarbone. That's his season done and dusted, and he looks a dejected figure as he makes his way back out onto the ground to watch his side, who are currently leading by some 21 points. But the interest here, of course, with Sydney and North Melbourne playing, Sydney in the live ladder now move to the top of the table by virtue of their very healthy percentage, 146.7 compared to Hawthorn's 119.7. The Adelaide Crows and the Cats are still to play, but how things have changed at the top of the ladder in the last 3 weeks. Now, that's good news for Sydney to see Buddy in the number 23 out there on the ground, because he looked to have a hip problem earlier. What's going to unfold in the second half? We're about to find out as we head back to Blundstone.
Goldstein in the ruck against Naismith. Goldstein got the tap and the gather. Cunnington to Wells, now Zeeble. Awkward kick towards half forward. Aliir has a fumble. Petrie sets out in pursuit, and Aliir just arches his back and slips away. Kicks towards Rowan at half forward, one-on-one with Ferrito. And the veteran 50. Just worked him under the football, and that will be 50.
Just that extra step over the mark there by Rowan. And that really probably almost puts Ferrito in goal-kicking territory. He's probably going to be about 10-15 metres short of that.
So it's an open forward 50. Dorr attacks this one, goes through his hands. Petrie and Harvey at ground level. Harvey throws it on the boot, bends it goalwards.
All clear.
And it's a minor score.
1 point.
Again, we saw the North Melbourne, for the most part, flying against each other, all playing deep. Get some separation, try and get some one-on-one marking contest opportunities.
Because there's plenty of space there. There was only 3 guys inside the 50. It's just they all congregated to the same position. Cunningham goes long. Goldstein punches away from Tippett. Parker to Kennedy to Hanbury, and now Richards. Xavier Richards chips down the line. I think he was looking for Parker. He turned his back on it, and McMillan picked it off.
I think he actually thought Mills was going to run into that space, but the kick just didn't have enough penetration.
So can North Melbourne put some scoreboard pressure on early in the third? Tippett comes across and kills that contest. Richards dragged down by Wells. Cunnington feeds it out to Gibson. Swallow rides the tackle from Mills. Dorr takes Kennedy down. Richards steps through Wells. And then a long kick out of trouble from Smith. Franklin, one hand, flies over the top. It's gathered by Papley. Now back to Franklin. McMillan in pursuit. Rowan to a wide open forward 50. Del Santo versus McVeigh, who snuck in the back. The 2 veterans go at it. McVeigh, Del Santo. Del Santo lays a tackle, dives on the football. McVeigh wraps him up. And the umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt.
That was a great contest. That was like in the old days where the coach just says, OK, pair off you 2. It kicks the ball out there, Woosher, and you've got to compete for it.
One of Sheeds' favourites, that one. I hated it.
Smith and Goldstein again. Wells, the important gather. Handball misses everyone. And the Swans will set up inside their forward 50. They're out to a 24-point lead, Sydney, at the 26-minute mark of the first term. Then North Melbourne took over, got back within a kick, and now it's back out to 11 again. Tippett tries to get it down to Hanbury. Tarrant didn't quite take possession. Heard over the football was Tippett. Quick kick by Zeeble. Out towards half-back, but Cunningham rather will get there first. Sets up Mills. He's confronted by Thomas. Goes back, wins the football. Dorr. His handball missed Harvey. Now Zeeble. Wells can accelerate through the middle. He's got Dorr. Dorr can get it and go. He can run all the way to 50. No one home. Dorr sets sail for goal and hits the post. Exciting build-up. So once again, the wide open forward 50 for North as all their forwards push up. Dorr just couldn't quite finish on that occasion. This is Heath Grundy. Kennedy works hard. Gets one hand on it, gathers it inside the line. Gives it off to Rampy. Rampy kicks towards Rowan in best position, and he marks. 70 metres from goal, Gary Rowan wheels and goes. High ball, sets it up for Franklin. Tarrant in front. Tippett there as well. Spills to Hanbury. Hanbury to McVeigh. Gets boot to ball quickly. And the all-important opening goal of the third term goes Sydney's way. Jared McVeigh gets his second. And the margin back out to 16 points.
Sometimes it's just the small things in the game, isn't it? They Tippett got, I think it was almost the back of his hand, the ball hit, but it just meant that the ball wasn't going to North Melbourne's favoured part where they actually had players running onto it and they were going to possibly be able to clear the ball. It actually ricocheted back off the hand towards the Sydney Swans players at the front. Here's that long kick by Gary Rowan. Just watch this. It's just Tippett's hand here, just enough just to keep it in the favoured side of the Sydney players. I actually think he intended to do that. That's great play.
He kept the ball in the corridor, didn't he, as opposed to it heading to the boundary line. Swallow pursued by Naismith. Goldstein couldn't take it. Del Santo gives it to Wells. Can he open up the game with some run? Beautifully weighted kick. Cleared the outstretched arms of Aliir and straight into the hands of Ben Brown. He's not confident of the journey. Now he's going to go back and set up.
No, he should be. He gets some momentum through this. He'll be able to make the distance. Wells is the most important player to actually have the ball for the North Melbourne side between the arcs. He's a great decision maker, great executor by foot.
Well, the score assists for the season, Wells 32, Harvey 31, and the next for North Melbourne is Petrie with 20. So it's all about Wells and Harvey to get them going. Ball in the hands of Brown. Recruited from Werribee, originally from Tasmania. Pulls that kick to the pocket. Off the hands of the contest and out as Petrie almost exits down the race. There's Ben Brown, 23-year-old, kicked 36-16 for the season. Can he get involved in front of his home crowd? Tippett down to Towers, and now Smith. McMillan will come over the top. He judged it well. A couple of bigger bodies in front of him, but he got a run at it and took it clean.
Very good, McMillan.
He'll set it up towards the top of the square. Dorr flies through his hands. Tippett's handball, partly smothered, but it finds its way to Grundy, who kicks off balance. It goes very wide and too wide. McKenzie will get the free kick.
Just struggling to find a clear target inside 50. They have to go long the last few times.
One of their big men, clunk a mark. This is Brown, and clunk is exactly the right word for that. That was strong hands.
That's the second time, Tim, that he's just setting for it. Rampy's so good one-on-one. Brown's just found the position, protected that front space. As you see here, Rampy's no chance of getting past his big frame.
He runs around and snaps the goal. An important one for the Kangaroos to just keep in touch. Margin back to 10 points. We've played almost 7 minutes in the third.
Starting to get his hands on the ball. We saw the last lead up he had, a shot from outside 50, wasn't great, but there he's just starting to work himself into the game. Obviously having last week off, getting some touch back here in front of his home crowd. He's a big player for this side. He's a big man, he's got big stature. You see if he can protect that space in front of him, no one will be able to get him.
So Ben Brown gets his first goal. North Melbourne back within 10 points.
It's always a great reaction with him too.
He really does have elite hands, doesn't he?
He does.
Really exciting talent at the age of 23. Goldstein and Tippett. Mitchell to Hanbury. Happy to feed it back to Aliir, who now goes back to Mitchell. He steps around Anderson. So Mitchell finds some space, attacks centre half forward. Hanson up in front. Franklin confronted by Swallow, and that tackle just slipped high.
Let him go.
So that was a great sign there by Buddy. The way that he attacked the ball in the air and then again at ground.
He's called to go, and the moment's lost. Goldstein, Harvey, they put themselves under pressure. McMillan, it's going to come back to Franklin. He can bust a tackle. He can run to 51 metres. Goes low towards the square. Almost an amazing mark by Hewitt. Didn't quite hang on. North arrive in numbers. Gibson doesn't kill it, and McLean kicks it. Well, once again, the little things and the Swans make them pay.
And they do the little things as well, if not better than most teams in the competition. McGlynn coming back into the side this week for Kieran Jack. He's a goal-kicking forward. He's played up the ground a bit in the midfield. But in that last minute of play, really, the highlight for me was Buddy's attack on the ball the first time, and then the second time, the follow-up. Didn't get a clean strike on the ball by foot, but still did enough. That's a good sign, Woosha.
Yeah, it is, and he's got that, missed kick there, but he's hit up pressure he did earlier. He's got that ability just to do little things that fall their way.
It's just the little fumble there from Gibson, and McGlynn was ready to pounce. Ball to be one in the middle. Again, McGlynn runs down Del Santo, opens it up for Mitchell, who gives it to Hewitt. Touched off the boot of Parker. Atley will get there first. Tries to sock it to his own advantage, but it's taken by Hanbury. McGlynn works his way past McKenzie. Kicks towards the pocket. Tarrant sits underneath it. Heaney arrives late.
They're asking the question again of North Melbourne, aren't they? The City Swans. They've just stepped up their play again. A lot more pressure around the ball. Numbers. And they're so precise and quick with their hands as well when they move the ball from congestion.
Yep, the intensity certainly lifted. This is Gibson in the back pocket. Now it's onus is on North to rise again. Anderson flies. Off hands. It opens up now for Del Santo. He can give it to Wells. Wells has got two men inside 50. Dorr and Brown, you can see them there. Dorr's going to track goalwards. He's going to head all the way to 50. Daniel Wells wants to go to the pocket and finds Harvey.
Clear out, Lindsay, clear out!
With that sort of space and time, he was always going to hit a target. He was hoping for a better option than the one that Harvey provided, but in the end, it was the clearest option for him to go to.
Yeah, it's the lowest percentage kick for goal from that position, but once again, the Swans doing well to just play one-on-one defence. Brown lost his feet at the 50 as he was trying to do a hook lead, and Dorr decided he was going to track goalward.
This should be a soda, though, for Harvey.
Another critical kick for the Roos as they look to stay in touch. The veteran doesn't let them down. He just caresses it through. Really controlled kick, that one from Brent Harvey. A lot of players, we say, hey, he didn't kick through it, he just poked at it, but he knew what he was doing, Harvey.
He knew exactly what he was doing. He had the protection of the grandstand. He just made sure that the wind or breeze wasn't going to be a factor at all, kept the ball low. But Del Santo, we haven't spoken much about Del Santo today. He kicked those 2 goals, we know, but he's up to 21 now. And again, it was his play just down in front of us here on the wing where he broke and created for Wells.
Well, Walshy, the critical players to get the ball in hand for North Melbourne. Del Santo 7 score involvements, Harvey 6, Petrie 5, Wells 4. They're veterans.
And they're all part of that build-up then.
Goldstein and Naismith back in the middle. Parker gives it to Hanbury. Hanbury's got Mitchell breaking towards the left half forward flank. Harvey to try and run him down. Harvey did well. Forced Mitchell to release the football. Didn't allow him to come back inside. Harvey wins it himself. Slaps it inboard to Cunnington. Gibson's under pressure. Back to Harvey. Tries to get rid of Cunningham. Can't do so. Mitchell hunts it again. Gives it to Kennedy. Kennedy will kick towards the goal square. Ferrito in best position.
Play on!
He needs a run at a break. And Dumont obliges.
Thank you.
The Kangaroos get another goal here. It's game on. They're right in this. To get another goal, they put that pressure on the Swans.
Dumont goes to McKenzie. And his kick is costly. Out of bounds on the full.
Kangaroos haven't been able to kick beyond 60 points the last 2 weeks, and they're certainly going to have to do that if they're going to win this game against Sydney today. So it gets back to the point that we were making before about their inability to be able to kick scores when they go forward and their domination in general play.
Parker just got the kick away under pressure from Wells. Heaney to Mills. Now to McGlynn. Chance for the Swans to respond through Hanbury. A wide open forward 50 once again. And they delivered it precisely through traffic, and really for the Kangas it's going to be so critical that they minimise their unforced errors.
Again, their ability to move the ball so precisely by hand until they get the ball in the hands of the player that is free.
It's the best part of their game, isn't it?
Oh, it's outstanding.
It's really where they take sides apart. They dissect them in close. They win a stoppage, 2 or 3 quick handballs, get the man to the outside and then use it. Dan Hanbury. 10 goals, 15 for the year, and he can make that 11. Important kick, and once again, the Swans build a buffer.
And Wooshers, that's the other great part. If you can actually get the ball in the hands of somebody in a high percentage position on the ground too, he couldn't have been more square to the goal then, Hanbury.
Yeah, it was 7 disposals so far this quarter for Henry. But McGlynn's been really good. He's been in there. He's been hitting the packs. Beautiful kick over the top. We've seen the last couple of build-ups by the Swans. They just haven't been able to weight that ball right. Just shows the experience of 31-year-old McGlynn coming back into the side. The third quarter of the time things need to happen.
So Dan Hanbury averaging 31 touches a game. 3rd for disposals, 7 for contested possessions, and 4th inside 50s in the entire competition. He is an elite midfielder. And the margin is back to 16. Once again, Kennedy, this time, importantly, couldn't get the hands free, Tim. That's normally where he punches the little handball to Hanbury, and then they're off and gone.
You talk to midfielders around the competition, they say he is one of the most powerful midfielders going around, Kennedy.
McGlynn and Kennedy tracking this one. Kennedy gets it, but it was smothered by McKenzie. Towers taken down by Petrie. Spills to Grundy, picked off by Thomas. Looks up, will tumble it inside 50. Wide open forward 50. Mills will be the first one back. He's got some support. It's Cunningham. Beautiful clean take from Mills too, under pressure. Gibson will set himself. Rowan will fly over the top. Naismith tries to swat a tackler. Doesn't make contact with the football. And once again, a chance for the Kangaroos to go back inside 50.
I'm skinny, Schmidt.
The game really in the balance in this third term.
Up to 18 now, McMillan. He's been a really good player for the Kangaroos off half-back.
The Swans up in the intensity in North Melbourne now, trying to go with them. Tarrant to Mullet. Smith leads Thomas to the ball. Got an awkward bounce, and Brown's handball fumbled over the line.
Good play by the Swans there. They forced the Kangaroos to try and get the ball out around the arc, and they didn't gain any metres, and they'll be able to compress them here into their zone.
Goldstein. Dumont. Tackled by Naismith. Spills to Towers. He gets it to boot quickly, and Rowan snuck over the back. He's got Heaney one-on-one, tracking hard inside 50 with Hansen. Big bounce here. Hansen got hands on it. Heaney with mobility at ground level. Wins the battle.
You know the great thing about that is that Rowan, when he looked up, he looked down the field to the 2 players that were running towards the ball. He looked and he knew straight away Hansen was going to have to outrun Heaney to get to that ball. In the end, he did, but it was a kick into that space, believing that it was Heaney that was going to run onto the ball, and he finished it off for the Sydney Swans.
Well, they were all on the same page, Tim. Heaney and Hansen and Rowan. If the ball hit the ground, it was advantage Heaney, and that's exactly what happened. So the Swans now kick it out to 22 points. North have got to dig again. Parker under pressure from Cunnington, couldn't get both hands on the football. Rowan's handball will be intercepted by Swallow, and he's carried forward by Mitchell.
We've talked a lot about Kennedy and Parker. 14 contested, 11 uncontested for Parker. Kennedy 11 contested, 14 uncontested. They work in both zones of the game, those two.
Some urgency from Harvey's handball. Eventually gathered in by Hansen, who gives it to McKenzie, and a nice take by Petrie. Harvey gets running again. He can sense the game's in the balance. Touched off his boot. Cunningham. Quick one to Lloyd. High to a one-on-one. Richards versus Gibson. Off the hands of Richards. Support comes from Mills. Swats a tackle and hits Rowan. He'll look up and see Franklin leading towards the boundary line. Goes a bit deeper towards Kennedy. He's got Atley for company, and Atley does well to fist it over.
They're just struggling to get the open forward line that Sawley spoke about just after half-time there, the Kangaroos. Swans are pushing back too quick. Harvey had nothing to kick to, had to pull the trigger late and smothered, and got an easy transition out of there for the Sydney Swans.
So just under 9 minutes remaining in the third. Margin at 22 points. Mitchell tracks the football. He's trying to get it to Towers, but Cunnington in there to force another stoppage.
He's up to 21 now, Mitchell too. So Parker 26, Kennedy 23, Hanbury 23, Mitchell 21. Their 4 guns all working hard again, providing plenty of drive for the Swans around the stoppages.
Swallow dispossessed. Dumont's hands towards Cunnington. Pressured off his kick. Lloyd spirals it back towards 50. Punched away by Del Santo. Gathered by Mitchell. Mitchell feeds it back to Parker. Parker to Lloyd. It sets up for Richards, but it just cleared him. And once again, McMillan read it well. It's been important this afternoon. And he kicks it in front of Hansen. Doesn't do him any favours. He's got Naismith for company. The ball will sit for him, and the support arrives. McKenzie He's taken by Rowan, and once again the Swans win one of those little scrimmages.
What about the closing speed there by Rowan? Mackenzie thought he had a bit more time.
Rowan pops it up. Parker will come from the side. Door spoils. Kennedy gathers. Kennedy snaps. And Kennedy goals. The Swans putting the foot down in the third term and the margin out to 28 points.
It was a good spoil there by Majak Dor, but they just had no spread around that forward entry there. Gibson was nearly on the goal line, but not close enough. They've all gone flying for the pack and sat at the feet of the ball. And Kennedy, such a polished play in and around the contest. One of those ones, he's great in the middle at a centre clearance, but if you're going to get a big contest up forward, he's the one that you want it in his hands. So calm under pressure.
That was a great tackle there by Gary Rowan, and Kennedy's kicked goals in each of his last 7 games now. We talked about that pre-game.
Well, the goal kicking
That's the other dimension of them.
Yep. There are 5 goals in the third term. McVeigh, Hanbury, Heaney, Kennedy and McGlynn. All smalls. Here's Hanbury again. Anderson arrives late, puts some pressure on Hewitt. Petrie comes in hard on Parker, tries to roll him in the tackle. Swallow on his hands and knees. Mills in there scrapping with him.
We spoke earlier about the key tall forwards for North. The issue is when the ball hits the ground, the smalls for Sydney allowed to run it out. North just haven't been able to trap it in their forward 50 like they could for periods in that second quarter.
Tippett's tap was beautiful to Hewitt. He just got a bad bounce, so he went back and fetched it, went in hard on Cunnington. And Sully, when you've got guys like Callum Mills and Dane Rampy who read it so well in the air, they just get to the right spots.
Yeah, they really do. They're almost unheralded, some of those half-back flankers for Sydney. They use the ball so well, and the decision-making is always spot on.
Rowan worked under the ball by Mackenzie. Ferrito just tries to bust through with strength, but Rowan holds him up. Mills taken down in a tackle that affected the kick, went straight to Gibson. Mullett will square it. Atley will wait. Papley arrives, and Atley marks. Wants to get it and go. North Melbourne now looking to inject a bit of speed into the game.
That's the bloke I'd be going to too if I were the Kangaroos.
Wells goes deep inside 50. Brown wrestling off the hands to Harvey, and he goes. North get one back.
It's amazing, isn't it? You get the ball in the hands of somebody like a Daniel Wells, and then something generally happens. He makes the right choices when he has the ball. On that occasion, he just kicked the ball long and deep to that one-on-one contest. It looked like the Sydney Swans were going to swallow it, but they weren't able to. And Brent Harvey, again, has proven today why he has to go on and play again next year. I mean, it's extraordinary to think of somebody at that age, but he just has to.
When we talk about the future of Brent Harvey, would you believe this is his 21st season? This is the best goal average of his entire career this year.
And no Kangaroos had more of the ball than him today either. 23 disposals he's up to.
So consistent. He's averaged between 22 and 25 touches a game for the last 11 years. Incredible player. And a walk-up start to the Hall of Fame.
But if they're to win this game, North Melbourne, they can't just match the Sydney Swans inside now. They actually have to beat them for the rest of this game.
Tippett and Dor. A lot more urgency in the Kangaroo game. Those deliberate build-ups, you won't see many of those now. They've got to get it and go. Zeeble towards half forward. Petrie did well to just keep the ball in his own vicinity. He gathers now from 55 metres, goes long towards goal, and again they miss left.
Those build-ups have been a lot better. Their last 2 or 3 thrusts forward, they've had a lot more space. They're moving the ball a lot quicker, not giving the Swans time to get back, and that's what we know the Swans want to play. They move up on the mark quickly for that kick inside 50, but Kangaroos been overcome that by moving it a lot faster than them.
North's only chance really here is to open up the game, isn't it?
Holding!
Here's another opportunity.
Melbourne, holding off the ball.
It's going to Majak Dor.
Mark's here. Held his arm.
You can see what he has in front of him. There's plenty of space for the leaders to work into.
Ben Brown's got some real space in front of him too to launch himself at this ball.
Not a lot of movement. They stand there and ask him to just kick it high. That's what they do. And Brown juggles. Thomas in tight, still alive. Heaney steps it over.
Just watching Ben Brown, he had so much space. All Majak Dor actually had to do. That kick went probably too wide and deep for him. But he could really launch himself at that ball without anybody obstructing him.
Mills goes long. Del Sano important, got in the way. Ferrito to McMillan. He looks at a target at 50. It's Goldstein. Well, he's kicked 18-7 for the season, Todd Goldstein. He's an excellent finisher for a man of his size. And they really need this one. This gets them back within 14 points. They just need to keep themselves within striking distance at three-quarter time. He gives it off. Mackenzie's got a thumping left boot. He gives it a ride, and he sends it home for a goal. Wonderful finish from Brad Mackenzie. His first goal for the season. And such an important one. Margin back to 14 points as the Kangaroos rally again.
It's one of those things about knowing your teammates, isn't it? I was standing in Goldstein, great kick at goal. He'd be able to get the distance, but just knowing his teammate, penetrating left foot kick there, really starting to better. They're not going into their shells here, the Kangaroos, after a few Swans goals. They're really fighting it out. It's going to be an interesting finish to this match.
There's Big Goldie realising that he didn't have the length, and his teammate did, and that is a beautiful finish. Now, critically, they need to win the ball again here.
So North Melbourne fighting on. Goldstein. Kennedy got hands on it but couldn't take possession. Naismith was deft. Down to Parker. High ball inside 50. Mackenzie high on confidence takes the grab. Mullet breaks hard to the far side and he honours that run. North Melbourne now trying to open this game up, make it free-flowing. Goldstein versus Naismith. The two big men go at it. Naismith takes possession. How's the umpire going to rule this? Deliberate.
He just tapped it straight over the line.
Wants to get it and go quickly. He's got Dumont down the line. He's got a couple of metres on Parker. So Dumont looks up, goes inside 50. Awkward one for Petrie. Beautiful half volley. Gives it to Wells. Back to Dumont. From 50 will go again to hit a target. The second time lucky. Petrie will get a free kick. Kennedy saying it's all ball. Umpire disagrees.
It wasn't dissimilar to the one that Smith almost marked and Lindsay Thomas knocked out of his hand. Just watch that, the two big blokes here clashing, and Naismith just taking the ball over the line deliberately. The right call by the umpire. He needs to nail this one though, Petrie, from a set shot.
That's 15.
It's time for their leaders to stand up in the big moments.
Probably took too much body with the spoil.
Drew Petrie, 314 games. 428 goals for the Kangaroos. And this a huge kick in the shadows of three-quarter time, and once again they miss left.
Again, we're seeing North get opportunities by lowering their eyes and hitting that short target instead of just bombing long. For this quarter, North have controlled the marks around the ground, 21-6. As North player, a Sydney player takes the mark there.
That's Papley. Good pressure on the kick coming out again.
It was a good mark by Papley because it dipped real late, but just for the little had in front position.
21 scoring shots to 19, yet North trail by 13 points. Parker arrives with Tarrant, and Tarrant fisted over and out. So there's plenty of positives for Brad Scott to reinforce to his side in the three-quarter time huddle. They've just got to stay in striking distance. Inside 50s, 44-35 for the game. So North Melbourne have had more of the football at their end of the ground. They've had more scoring shots. They've had more disposals. Just got to put it on the board. Cunnington, strong tackle on Mitchell. Spills to Dumont. Goes towards Brown. Another difficult one at his ankles. Anderson tried to paddle it up. Couldn't do so. Rampy. Harassed. Dispossessed. Dumont's handball missed everyone. Wells goes back on hands and knees to Cunnington. It's hard work, but North still have possession. Wells and Harvey, they combine. Wells buys himself some time without even moving. Oh, the clever players can do that. He didn't move. Everyone just ran away from him, and he delivers to Ben Brown.
Yeah, we spoke about it. He's the player that you want the ball in his hands. You've got to be impressed with what the North Melbourne are doing here. They haven't gone into their shells. They haven't held back. They're keeping the pressure on the Swans and getting it to this man's hands, Daniel Wells. And Ben Brown as well. This quarter, he's really jumped up. 6 possessions so far, 1 goal, 1.
He grew up playing footy for Devonport and Tasmania under-18s. He went to Werribee to advance his game. Got drafted by the Roos. And this to make it a single-digit game. He's kept it low and he's snuck it in for a goal. Back to a 7-point game. Brown gets his second. Beautiful finish, just like Brent Harvey did. He kept it low from that pocket and guided it through.
A great fight back from North Melbourne too, and it's come from their midfielders. You know, Harvey's been busy, and Del Santo and Wells, but some of the tackling, some of the real crunching tackling that Cunnington has applied in the last 5 or so minutes, and they're making life a lot more difficult for the Sydney Swans to move the ball. There's the kicking action of Ben Brown. It's a very fluent kicking action. It's right over the ball, follows through.
So Sydney led by 28 points at the 21-minute mark. But 3 goals to North Melbourne in 8 minutes, or 7 minutes really, gets them back in the game. Del Santo under pressure. Papley got an awkward bounce. Ferrito put his head over it. McKenzie intercepted. Towers inside 50. Parker one-on-one with Hansen. Ball pitches in front of them. Swallow tracks it towards the line with McGlynn for company. Gains a little bit of extra territory, and it's out of bounds on the full.
Good decision there by the umpire, just to let that one go between Hansen and Parker.
Towers kicks into Cunnington on the mark.
Often that one gets paid against the defender, but both players actually grappled and held each other, and in the end he said, OK, 0-0 draw.
So there's Ben Cunnington.
Defensively, he's been really good in the last 5 minutes.
Naismith at the back, Goldstein at the front. Cunnington tried to run onto it. Hanbury on hands and knees. Wells, slick to Del Santo. Awkward bouncing ball, socket forward by Anderson. It's a wide open forward half, but the Swans have the football. Cunningham to Lloyd.
Not 15, play on!
Lloyd to Towers. High ball from Towers. The big men will fly. Franklin off his hands. Hewitt at ground level. Franklin put his head over it, confronted by Cunnington. Attlee got it to Harvey. Harvey feeds it back to McMillan. McMillan across his body. Awkward one for Goldstein and Naismith. Brown arrives with Rampy. Rampy keeps it alive. Rampy runs to 47 metres. Goes for goal and misses.
He kicks that. That's quite possibly the goal that he the work that he did to extricate himself from the North Melbourne clutches and then to be able to steady. Unable to finish, but there in that passage of play, you see why he's considered to be one of the finest defenders in the game.
So 45 seconds till three-quarter time. Dorr flies over the top. Cunnington versus Kennedy go at it at ground level. Hewitt tries to emerge with the football, can't do so.
They've got to make it a fight now, this last 30 seconds for the Kangaroos. They can't afford the Swans to get another goal here.
Towers third man up, goes towards Mitchell. Gathers inside the line. Hanbury just a fumble under pressure from Dumont. It's been a great fight back twice today. The Swans, North Melbourne rather, have come from 24 and 28 points down. They've kicked the next few goals of the contest to stay alive. It's been a gritty fight back in this third term. Kennedy taken down by Swallow. It spills to Thomas. 20 seconds left for the Roos. Have they got time? Del Santo needed to be precise. Harvey to Del Santo, now to Goldstein. 10 seconds left. They need to get it inside 50. Del Santo running, but it was beautifully picked off. Mitchell now going back the other way. McVeigh, still time for the Swans with 2 seconds left on the clock. Coming forward was Tarrance. And the stage is set for an interesting final term as Papley and Harvey come together. The veteran and the youngster. No quarter given and none asked. And at three-quarter time, it's in the balance. The Swans 11-9-75. North Melbourne 9-13-67. The Sydney Siders by 8 points on Saturday Arvo footy. Three-quarter time at Blundstone Arena. And it looked grim for North Melbourne. They trailed by 28 points at the 21-minute mark of the third term. Then North kicked 3 goals in 5 minutes to tighten it right up. Margin back to just 8 points at three-quarter time. Sydney 11-9-75. North Melbourne 9-13-67 as we head down to Sully.
Dewey, things really tightened up in that quarter. Felt like we were going to kick away, but what was the message then?
Yeah, a bit of an arm wrestle. We let them in late. Like the first quarter, 2 late goals hurt us. Bit of a, they're throwing 7-8 behind the ball, so we're juggling that a little bit.
And their forwards start clunking the ball inside 50 a little bit?
Yeah, we need more help. One-on-one, they're hard to beat, so our guys need to get across and help each other down there. We're looking for that.
And we saw Bud cop a knock there early in the game. Hasn't had much of the ball. Is he feeling okay?
Oh, he's battling a bit, but he's out there, so we need him for 30 minutes.
All the best, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen.
Jason Bennett alongside Tim Watson, Andrew Welsh, Brad Sewell for Saturday Arvo footy. North have the momentum. Sydney have the lead. Gentlemen, who wins?
I still think the game favours Sydney, and I think Goldstein, though, for North Melbourne can play a real pivotal role for them in this last quarter against Naismith and underdone Tibbet.
Yeah, I think the Swans as well. I think the missed opportunities for Kangaroos going inside their 50 is going to hurt them.
Final quarter at Blundstone Arena. The Swans turn for home with an 8-point lead. Goldstein and Naismith. Naismith got a clean run at it. Tried to put it into the path of Parker. Del Santo flashed across your screen. Comes to Mitchell. First inside 50, the final term goes Sydney's way. Richards and Franklin track it towards the line. Sawley, who wins?
Yeah, I think Sydney as well. It takes a lot of energy for North Melbourne early on. They couldn't hit the scoreboard, so North Melbourne, of course, are down one man in Scotty Thompson. Anderson is quite sore on the bench as well, so I'm expecting Sydney to kick away.
Goldstein goes to ground. Mitchell receives from Kennedy. Quick hands to Parker. Quick snap. They've peppered the left-hand side of the goals at that end of the ground this afternoon. So important for North to get a good start here. They've drawn close on a couple of occasions without actually being able to get their noses in front. They currently trail by 9. McMillan goes long to the outer side. Door will fly, but mistimed it completely. Spills for Thomas. He goes down the line for Del Santo to run onto. He's got Kennedy for company, and in the end, soccers it out of bounds.
They probably played the better footy for a majority of this game, North Melbourne, but as Sully said, it's those forward 50 entries they just haven't been able to capitalise. They've battled away, they've been manful in trying to progress, get the ball inside 50, just haven't been able to capitalise. Against a professional side like the Sydney Swans, you've got to make them count.
Parker, third man up, taken by Wells, goes towards Brown and Rampy.
Great
Play on.
Called to go. He's got Mills in support. Great tackle from Brown, almost got him, but it forced the turnover. McMillan dropped it. He's got a problem now in the form of Rowan. Rowan, later tackle, but couldn't stop him getting the football to Gibson. Gibson down the line to Petrie. He has a fumble. Does Aaliyah get into his back? Umpire says no, he doesn't.
Gee, he's lucky.
He was very lucky there, I think.
I thought he did get into his back.
A costly drop mark there by McMillan. He takes that, allows them to set up. They had space in their forward line. Brown was down there, one out. Gives them a potential scoring shot.
As we said in the third term, Sully, they've just got to minimise the unforced errors, don't they? If they're going to get beaten, they've got to have the Swans beat them, not beat themselves.
Yeah, it is almost the maturity of the side, isn't it?
Goldstein slung off his kick, gets it inside 50. Thomas tumbled through. Aaliyah gets it on the boot quickly. McMillan this time stands underneath it and does take the mark. Can switch it up to Hansen and Atley. Hansen will be first in the chain. He looks towards Wells at 50.
On the line.
He looms as their major threat at ground level. Daniel Wells, he's been fantastic.
Plenty of space for the big men to lead into, but again, we don't see a lot of leads, Tim. It's just static back in the goal square. They're standing there saying, either kick the goal yourself or just put it on top of our heads.
Every Sydney player is inside the defensive 50. Not many options there for Wells.
So will Wells set it up? He will. Door will fly at this, but 3 to beat in the air. Parker at ground level, taken by Harvey, who kicks the goal. Critical little hand in there by Nick Del Santo. Forced the turnover, and Brent Harvey gets his third.
It was a great kick by Wells. 8th inside 50 for Wells for the game, and what you can fall in danger of when you've got no options up there, the whole Sydney side was inside the 50, was bomb it long right to the goal line. He sat it out enough to be able to make a contest, and when you get a player like Brent Harvey in and around the ball, such as smarts, his third goal for the game for the little veteran.
That's Boomer Harvey's third goal for the game. Just have a look at how many North Melbourne players are just goal side here. There was 3 of them. In the end, it fell to the most dangerous of those players, Brent Harvey. Up to 27 disposals now. 9 scoring involvements as well.
Hanbury to Kennedy, but again, he can't get the hands free. That's been the difference from the first term. They've been much more switched on in close, North Melbourne. Haven't allowed those clean takeaways. This time it's Zeeble. He'll kick it high. Door will arrive late. Good strong effort from Smith in front. Brown to Thomas. Wants to get back onto his left. He does. Screws it to the pocket. Harvey versus Mills. The veteran attacks it. The veteran snaps at goal. And misses everything.
Just on the tackles as well, we saw a great tackle in there by Zeeble. Kangaroos haven't been great at tackling. Sydney Swans #1. They're being out-tackled at the moment by North Melbourne, and in this game, 62 to 59.
They average 80, the Sydney Swans, so they're down on those numbers.
Thomas came across the front of the ruck contest. Did he cop one high? Kennedy in over the top.
Played for the free kick.
Easy.
Parker letting him know all about that.
This way, boys. Clear out at the back, boys.
Cunnington, quick snap out of the congestion. And he just misses.
They're continuing their trend though, aren't they? They're getting opportunities. They're getting it inside 50. They're putting the pressure on. A couple opportunity goals. Those ones there. They get those goals there, and that's what will be able to get them a good crack at winning this game.
North Melbourne with the last 4 goals of the contest. Goldstein in best position. Naismith has to fly from behind. Somehow Mills gets through. Gives it to Heaney. Takes it on the bounce. Weaves through traffic. Beautifully weighted handball to Rowan. Just left it behind. Good pressure from Mullet. He goes back and wins it. Zeeble receives from Del Santo. Ducks under a tackle. Harvey fumbles it towards McKenzie. He chips it down the line to Cunnington, and North Melbourne full of run right now. Controlling the football early in this final term. Just need to work their way through the maze. Cunnington goes towards Majak. Off his hands. Thomas soccers it out of mid-air. Low percentage play. And it's picked off by Aaliyah. Now to Hanbury. McVeigh breaks to the outer side with Petrie for company, and that was an important tackle from Drew Petrie to get into the line.
Thank you. Go through, mate. Go through.
Your call.
Easy.
Jason is a good one about the number of North Melbourne players in the early part of this final term that are actually running and finding space.
Head up, Drew.
What's Drew Petrie doing there? He's on a ball through there, Jared McVeigh.
North Melbourne fighting for their season. They're coming hard at Sydney. Kennedy links up with Hanbury. Naismith off his knees, but it comes to Petrie. Wanted to hold it and floated over the top to Wells, but Aaliyah did well. He then wins the football. He floats it to Kennedy, who's gang tackled, taken down. Can't bust free. Ball spills loose. Swallow, Gibson. Now Wells wants to step inside Parker, can't do so, has to retreat to Gibson. And now Atley. Under pressure down the line. Aaliyah stands underneath it.
Gee, they're hunting Kennedy, aren't they? Any time he gains possession of the ball.
And he coughs it up to Harvey. A chance for Brent Harvey to go back and kick his 4th and give North Melbourne the lead.
They've sensed the moment. They've sensed this last quarter. Their season's on the line here. Their season, Drew Petrie stood up a lot more aggressive in this last quarter. They know they have to win today to make sure that they can have a good crack at a finals campaign.
Well, they trail by 28 points at the 21-minute mark of the 3rd term. Since then, they've kicked the last 4 goals of the game. And now Brent Harvey a chance to give North Melbourne the lead for the first time since 14 minutes into the game. Another missed opportunity.
Did somebody write earlier in the week that it was time for Brent Harvey to give it away, maybe? Did I read that somewhere?
He's answering in fine style. 29 possessions, 3 goals, 2, 9 score involvements. Long kick to the wing. Big ball to be won. Here's Rowan. He's got some speed. Can look up. They track back towards the goals. From 70 metres out, he just pins the ears back and hits the post. Well, that is quick transition football as this game starts to open up a little bit.
And that's the thing with the Sydney Swans too. If you take a breath at any stage, then they can strike and they can score really quickly. They transition as well as any side in the competition.
McMillan to Mullet, deep in his own back pocket.
Because North Melbourne's pressure has been so good, they've been unable, Sydney, to slingshot off half-back and get that quick transition as much as they would have liked to.
Here's McKenzie.
So he worked hard, Jamont, then to get that ball.
Dangerous kick. Gee, that was good strong hands from Del Santo. Pressure came from Parker, and it was real trouble if that one hit the deck. North Melbourne picked their way through the zone. Gibson gives it off to McMillan. McMillan goes to Petrie. Couldn't quite hang on, but he'll get a free kick for the chop.
North Melbourne. Marks here, arm chop. Time back on. Thank you.
In perfect position to see this. There's the kick from McMillan.
Not on the same page with Brown. Grundy got across. Majak Door to force a contest. He's got Kennedy right there with him. Handball missed the target. Coming through was Towers. And he'll just get it long to the wing. McKenzie now in a foot race with McGlynn, and the boundary line wins.
It was a risky kick.
He's playing that deliberate. I think that's the wrong decision there by the umpire. I think the position on the ground where that ball landed, I think you had to give the player that kicked the ball the benefit of the doubt.
Move on, play on.
So the resultant free kick goes to McKenzie. He pumps it long again. Big pack flies. It spills over the back. Del Santo from 55 short to Harvey. It's the veterans getting the ball in hands right now. Harvey 29, Del Santo 28, Wells 27, McMillan, Petrie all involved in this last quarter. Harvey wants to take them out on the mark on. Goes back onto his right boot. And it's shut down. Mills picks it off. Could be a huge play. Here's Franklin. Gets away from Tarrant. Looks up. He's got Richards. Richards has got McGlynn at 50. Heads in that direction and finds him.
Hold there. Stay clear.
Wide open goal square for McGlynn. He's got Hanbury tracking inside 50. Spots him now and delivers.
You would have seen that off the ball, though, but there was great play there by Tarrant. Buddy actually followed up to see if he could get a receive from McGlynn, and Tarrant took with him all. I mean, it was just great concentration from a key defender who's had an outstanding game.
1 metre.
So it could be a big turnaround. Brent Harvey took the man on. It didn't work. It's now in the hands of Dan Hanbury. And a chance for the Swans to extend the lead back out beyond a kick.
Not the best part of his game.
11-15 for the year. He starts at left, works it right, and brings it back. Hanbury gets his second.
When I say they're not the best part of his game, coming into this game he kicked 10-15. So, but today he's been accurate, and that is the steadier. Although they're not home yet, the Sydney Swans, because really when North Melbourne have gone forward, they've had the opportunity to create goals, but they've turned the ball over. But again, Hanbury's been one of the major contributors. He'll be up to 30 by the end of this game on 29 now.
So Hanbury takes his chance at one end after North Melbourne squander a few at the other end. And critically, again, they prevent the Kangaroos from just getting their noses in front.
I'm sure Brent Harvey would want that opportunity again. Wells early on, set it up. That's what Harvey should have done with that kick inside 50.
Goldstein down to Swallow was nice. Kicks towards Zeeble versus Alier. Socket off the deck by Anderson. Alier tracks it towards the boundary. Anderson gets there first, but loses his footing.
And see how important that composure is around the arc. Benny McGlynn had the chance to blaze away and pump it in long, but just held his ground, found Hanbury out wide, who then kicked truly. Something North haven't been great at today.
And it was great gut running from Hanbury, wasn't it? To just fight the exhaustion and just work hard, 60 or 70 metres to present an option. Cunnington to run onto this one, confronted by Papley, taken by McGlynn. McGlynn goes back towards Hanbury, Ferrito and Rowan. Ferrito gets there first. Links up with McMillan. Beautifully smothered by Franklin. He'll now receive it from Hanbury. Buddy can get it and go. He runs to 55. He attacks the wide open goal and he bounces it through for another point.
He had to look back inside then, Buddy. He burnt two Sydney Swans players that were running down the centre of the ground and were about 35 metres out directly in front. He didn't even look inside then, Buddy. I think that's what happens when you don't touch the ball much in an afternoon.
You're trying to work yourself into it, trying to do something to get yourself into the game.
McKenzie to McMillan off the hands of Heaney. Here's Kennedy from 55. McMillan got there, got a hand there. Kennedy at the front, taken to the line by Atley. The Swans with so many fans here this afternoon. Every time a Sydney player takes a mark or gets a kick, as you can see there in the background, so much red and white in this crowd. It's a great atmosphere. It's pretty much full here at Blundstone Arena. Lots of North Melbourne fans. They've got 7,000 members here in Tasmania as Parker's taken down by Swallow.
Thanks, boys. Just hold 1 metre at the boundaries. Thanks, mate.
Even numbers behind the ball too. Just 5 pairs for the Kangaroos in their half.
Goldstein to Del Santo, and now Cunnington can release Wells. Runs away from Mills, just chips it delicately to Brown, and he marks in front of Rampy.
They're just going to have to be precise again by foot here, the Kangaroos. Just wait until something presents itself.
Brown will go down the line. Dumont's got to stand tall at the front. The spoils come. Lloyd hoists it back towards the wing. Franklin flies. Fisted forward of the contest. Del Santo tries to step through traffic. The tackle didn't stick. Here's Franklin. Runs onto the loose ball. Pokes one down the line. Delicate kick to McGlynn. And finds him just inside the boundary.
He's found some life, hasn't he, Bud, in the last couple of minutes?
McGlynn, penetrating kick inside 50. Rowan flies.
In the back, North Melbourne. Here. Advantage, advantage.
Hanson wore that one. Advantage paid. Now a chance for Atley to break. Down the broadcast side, he's had 3 bounces. Tippett tries to corral him. Attlee will just poke it towards Anderson. It was an important half volley and a good chase from Tippett.
There's really good play ahead of the footy there by the Swans. They've gone man on man all over the ground. What they're doing is slowing down those options on the fast transition. With the zone, you can tend to pick them apart through the midfield. The Swans have gone man on man now all over the ground.
Inside 10 minutes left in this game. It's a 9-point contest. Cunnington tries to spin through the McGlynn tackle. Wells gets it to Harvey. He spirals it. Brown tries to track it back. Rampy in best position, couldn't take the mark. Opens up for Brown, but his handball misses Petrie. And Rampy combines with Grundy to tidy it up.
He did everything right there, Brown. He kept his feet, just the handball in the end. Untidy.
Rampy precise again to Richards.
We can see when the ball hits the ground in the Kangaroos forward line that the Sydney defenders are so quick to clear it out.
Richards gets great distance on the kick, off the hands of Franklin to McVeigh. It's Papley at the back. He goes high inside 50, Mullet in best position. He takes a safe and very important mark at the top of his own goal square. Goes short to Cunnington. He goes short to Wells.
Next time, hold! Hold! Stay there.
Again, North Melbourne look to go precise through the zone. Harvey just had a metre or 2 on Lloyd.
30 touches for Wells, 10 contested. He set the standard early for the Kangaroos. Needs to really lift now, late in this 4th quarter.
Big job for Lloyd too.
Harvey up to 32 touches now as he finds Gibson. North need to be patient and precise. Ferrito's the next link in the chain. He's got to get rid of it quickly. Lloyd closes, and that just affected the kick. Aliir picks it off once again, and we keep singing the praises of this young man. It's impossible not to. Phenomenal story, and put that all to one side, irrespective of where he's come from and how he's got here. Just to step into AFL football the way he has in his last 7 games, it's like he's been playing for 7 years.
And that read in the air on the ball, he's getting better and better at that. Hanbury on this near side of the ground, but just a little bit far away.
So Mitchell goes long. Franklin again the target. Bounces to Anderson at the back. He uses McMillan, who chips it short to Dumont.
Thank you.
Thought about the little give to Anderson. Instead he'll go down the line to Gibson.
It's getting to the stage of the game now where the Kangaroos need to take some risks and play on it every opportunity and try and open up Sydney and get some scores.
They definitely need the next goal. Thomas ran out of space.
No, I didn't think so.
Hanbury again calling for the ball.
Mitchell receives from Aliir. Those top 5 midfielders, they've got Parker, Hanbury, Kennedy, Mitchell, and normally Jack. Just so effective. Off the hands of the contest and out.
It's probably worth remembering too. I mean, this game is going to be close. We know from what we've seen already this year, the Sydney Swans haven't been able to close out a number of close games.
So 16,495 the crowd here at Blundstone. Another great turnout. Tasmanian footy fans loving what they're seeing this afternoon. It's been a good contest. Aliir paddles towards McVeigh, and Swallow comes in over the top of him to try and hold him up. Umpire waits and says holding the ball. So maybe now a chance for North Melbourne to move it quickly. Swallow has it. It's a wide open forward 50. He's got Brown and Petrie deep. He spots that, goes towards Brown, who's got a fly, got a couple to beat in the air at ground level. Zeeble, left foot snap from Zeeble. Misses left again. 2 behinds to Zeeble.
There's a North Melbourne player down too after that collision.
Yes, Lindsay Thomas.
Slow getting up there, Lindsay.
He got crunched in that marking contest. It's an 8-point game, 6.5 minutes remaining.
That was another great chance though that went begging there for Zeeble.
Franklin flies. It doesn't get that far back in the pack. It's fisted forward and out.
They're controlling the play, though, North Melbourne. Now, you see Lindsay Thomas there, checking his mouth from behind play. They're controlling the pressure. They're controlling the flow of the game. The only time the Sydney Swans have been able to get them is that quick break, open speed.
It's just that inability to convert inside 50s into scores. It's plagued them all year.
Play on.
Tarrant just clipped high. Gibson will bring it inside 50. Petrie will get a run at this. Brown there as well. Thomas lurking with intent. Grundy went looking for Smith.
Yep.
And the umpire says throw it in.
4 important players just waiting on the sidelines trying to get on for the Sydney Swans too. Tippett, Kennedy, McGlynn and also Mills.
So the long bombs inside 50 not working for North Melbourne. Need to see some more movement from their bigs. Thomas, was he taken high? Zeeble stripped of the football. McVeigh, poised in traffic, gets it to Hannebrich. He releases it to Franklin. And that just eases the pressure momentarily for the Swans.
Blood certainly has been moving much more freely in this quarter. He's provided quite a spark getting up the ground. We've seen him carrying the ball back towards goal as well.
Penetrating kick off the hands of Hewitt. Hansen at the back. Delicate situation here for North Melbourne. Towers comes in, loses his feet. He's harassed, taken down by McKenzie and Dumont. Umpire says holding the ball. So this is where North have found it difficult, transitioning from their own defensive 50 and turning that into scores.
Look at that kick then from Buddy, though. It went nearly 70 metres, that kick. They were lucky just to be able to slow it down there, North Melbourne, and win the ball back with that free kick.
And it's not just the distance, is it? It's the speed it gets there because he hits it so flat and hard. As Tarrant goes short to Swallow.
Kennedy back on, Goldstein on at the same time. Goldstein's going to try and run to the goal square.
So once again, we can see there, no movement. Very little movement. A couple of half-hearted leads. So there's just nothing to go to. No one presenting. And now, it's McMillan's problem. Tarrant, Swallow, and in the end they force a scungy little kick. Advantage paid. Now it might open up. Gibson's got to be quick, but he tumbles it inside 50. Swans everywhere. It spills to Petrie. Just took a second, and he didn't have that time. Hewitt runs him down.
See, that was a tough decision there for Rowan. He actually had to attack the ball, or he had to wait for it to bounce. In the end, he did the right thing. He attacked the ball, but it bounced over to Petrie. But they just had the numbers there to just force the turnover again, the Sydney Swans.
Rampy out to half-back, and Nick Smith. Such a settled back six for the Swans.
Just going into a little bit of tempo football themselves, the Sydney Swans.
Hannebrich takes it. Strong mark under pressure. Backward of the wing. So as we tick down to 4 minutes, it's an 8-point game. North Melbourne, it's like kicking it against a brick wall at the moment. Just keeps bouncing back at them with interest. And
it really has been for both sides, having on that outer side. They just keep going long. No one's really looking for the transition to bring it out this side of the ground. They just keep going long down the line.
That kick from Mitchell comes off the side of his boot. So North will get another chance.
Well, every player there's probably in about 100 metres of each other on that side of the ground. So there's not a lot of space to operate there, so you're going to have to really be brave, North Melbourne, with their movement of the ball, open it up.
Who's got the run in their legs for North to just break a line and provide an option? Dorr attacked it. Spilt to Ferrito. Hoists up a handball towards Harvey. It's punched away and gathered by Mitchell. He looks inboard. Decides he'll kick it long down the line. Franklin will arrive late. Good contest from Tarrant.
See, that was courageous then by Naismith to go back with the flight of the ball.
Great, fearless contest from both men. Unfortunately, they're both up and okay.
Tarrant didn't really stick the landing, did he?
Play on.
Goldstein at the front. That's where the numbers are for North. Cunnington goes down the line. Aliir versus Dorr off the hands of that contest. Just past Thomas, but he can receive it now from Swallow. Steps inside Kennedy. Steps inside Smith. Nothing much to kick to. So he'll go long down the line towards Brown. Oh, what a magnificent one-handed mark. He looks up and he'll see no one but Gary Rowan as the spare man.
Been a fascinating duel between those two, the undersized Rampy and Brown.
So this time he'll go short to Del Santo rather than just bomb it in.
Just outside his distance, Jason. This is going to be one of those half kicks, I think.
Can he run right to the left and wind it up? He'll just set it up. But again, it's all Sydney. Rowan. They're just not on the same page, the North Melbourne forward line. There's no movement.
There was a couple of tools there. Majak Dorr and Petrie. Ben Brown, that's where he's so good. If he was there, he would have really hit that contest and at least brought it to ground.
Rowan will kick it high and long towards the wing, through the hands of Ferrito. Gibson at the back. He's got Tarrant in support. Feeds it back, steps inside Hewitt. Gives it to Ferrito. He'll look up, and again he'll go long. Dorr will attack this contest. Spills to Aliir, who lands on his feet. Dribbles along the ground to Tippett. Tippett goes backward to Lloyd. He's got to be quick and precise, and he's both. And McGlynn says just settle it down. Inside 2 minutes now.
They're going to try and take a little bit of time off the clock, the Sydney Swans. Just maintain possession of the ball. Each player can use up about 15 seconds. They would have practiced this time and time again at training.
The Kangas need something special from here. Lloyd just goes high. It's the percentage kick towards the wing. Zeeble will get it. North have got to get it and go. They need a big ball here. Anderson and McGlynn. McGlynn stands underneath it. It ricochets to McVeigh. He'll kick it high inside a wide open forward 50. It's a 3-on-1 Sydney's way. Off the hands of Richards. Has he got it? He's got it.
No, Sam. Come on.
Well, if nothing else, he can soak up some time.
He's been a real find. Richards, as I said earlier, 13 touches today. His ability to move up the ground and his athletic ability is phenomenal. There you see a strong mark. And we've seen a couple of Kangaroos guys, Brent Harvey, have a shot from here. If he's picked up from that, just keep it low and try and put it up too high where the wing can get hold of it.
He's a really good kick too. Came into the game as a forward.
Another one of these youngsters who's had to be so patient, waiting for his opportunity. And misses this one to the right-hand side. So 40 seconds left. North must go coast to coast, get it back to the middle and get a clean takeaway. Mackenzie's a thumping kick. He gains a couple of metres and then launches it right up the middle. Petrie's the target, but they've got no runners over the back and Grundy picks it off. So once again, the Swans, in a tight one, managed to do the little things when they matter most. And this is Mills confronted by a frustrated Lindsay Thomas.
Move it on. Play on.
This goes high to 50, off the hands to Hanbury. He tries to feed it over the top. Wells gets the football. And he'll have the last disposal of the game as the Sydney Swans extend their winning streak to 5 and keep their minor premiership hopes alive. Another tough contest for the Swans, but they get home by 9 points, and this man had 28 possessions and a goal. Josh Kennedy is with Sully.
Joey, it was an absolute arm wrestle, but importantly, you got done what needed to be done late in the game.
Yeah, we got the 4 points, but you know, it was a really tough game throughout the course. We got away to a good start, but North came back, and it was a real, as you said, arm wrestle from then on in. And you know, they missed a few shots, which probably left the door. Gave us a bit of luck, I guess, throughout the stages of the game, and we made some, so could have gone either way, but we'll take the win.
Your backs were undersized all day, but when the ball hits the ground, they clear it out really well.
Yeah, it's been a real positive for us all year. The guys down there, you know, a lot of them with not much experience, Alir, Millsy, and they just, you know, they just look like real complete players, so it's fantastic.
And your form line continues personally, the back end of the season leading into the last 6 weeks, really important.
Yeah, it is important, and it's, you know, it's a really exciting time of year, and you know, we want to give ourselves the best chance to have a crack at the granny, and you know, we're in the spot at the moment. We just got to keep it going.
Now, as a big bud, he got a copped a bit of a knock there early. Is he all right?
Yeah, he seemed to be all right. He played out the game and was pretty critical for us at different stages throughout that last quarter. So he's all good, and you know, that's half the battle. We back on the horse next week.
Well done, mate. Enjoy.
Thanks a lot, mate.
So for North Melbourne, it feels like one that got away. They won disposals, more kicks, more handballs, more marks, more contested marks, more clearances, more contested and uncontested possessions. Many more inside 50s, 63 to 49, but their inability to convert those into scores means that the stat that matters most, the only stat, they fall 9 points short of as we head back to Sully.
Well, Hannahs, there's no panic stations there at half-time, but North had the ascendancy there.
Oh, look, I think, I'm not sure what they've probably had more shots than us and had a lot of opportunities there, and I think at times we were pretty inefficient going forward, and I thought they had some quality shots on goal. I thought they competed really hard, but so did we, and I think we've learned a lot from a few close losses, and we closed it out really well.
Yeah, so in terms of those close losses, throughout the year you've sort of gone the wrong way for you, but how much time have you put into that second half of the year?
I mean, we always put in a bit of time, but I think we probably really need to knuckle down in a few areas and probably train it even further, and we've done a hell of a lot of it after those 3 close losses, and I think Carlton and then again today was two times we've closed it out, so a lot better, but can still always improve.
And leading into the finals, these tight games are really important for your sort of conditioning and hardness for that last 4 weeks.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, North are a quality team. They played in the prelim last year. We respect them enormously. They're a finals type team. I think a go about it. They really gave us a challenge, and good tune-up coming into the finals.
Well, mate, all the best.
North Melbourne would have been frustrated with that performance today. As we heard from the boys, they led the stats in every department but the one that counted, and that was on the scoreboard at the end of the day, and they went down by 9 points. For Melbourne fans, they'd be pretty pleased with that result, because now they face Carlton tomorrow. If they win that one, well, who knows? They could be playing finals footy. So it's a great finish to the home and away season, whether you're at the top of the ladder in first or second spot or seventh or eighth at the moment. It really is a tremendous battle. Still lots more to come. One of those sides fighting for the double chance is GWS. They're coming up next against Freo, who are celebrating David Mundy's, the boy from Seymour, his 250th game. He's been a wonderful servant of the club and was rewarded with the captaincy this year in preference to Nat Fyfe. That is coming up shortly, so stay with us.
I want to talk to you about Adam Goodes. He's been an intriguing figure throughout his career with the Swans. I have this feeling that he left in circumstances not befitting a bloke who's been as great a contributor as he's been. Do you agree with that?
It was disgraceful. Disgraceful.
Which bit?
Well, the fact that for 2 years he was racially vilified by not by the competition, by some parts of the supporter base who were watching the games. You know, people can try to make an excuse it was about the way he played football. He played, up until the time he was Australian of the Year, he played 320 games of footy and never been booed.
Yes, they got home by 9 points, but they had to work very hard, the Sydney Swans, so that means that they now go to the top of the AFL ladder. North Melbourne, on the other hand, hanging by a thread as we see the final scores. As you can see, North didn't take advantage in front of goal. 10-16-76, Boomer Harvey booted 3 and played really well. 32 disposals for the Little Master. 12-13, Sydney 85, McVeigh, Rowan and Hanbury each kicked a couple, and Hanbury and Parker very busy with those possessions, 64 between them. Having a look at some of the highlights, Tommy Papley, very quick to pounce on that indiscretion and was able to play on and hook it round and kick the goal. Good start for Papley, a good start for Sydney. Nicky Del Santo, forever the opportunist, kicked a couple of goals, both in the first term. That was one of them, keeping the Kangaroos in touch. That's where Buddy appeared to hurt his rib or hip, but fingers crossed he will be okay. The easy goal of the year for Drew Petrie, no doubt about that. Didn't he appreciate it, Buddy? Just receiving some treatment. The good news was he came back out onto the ground after half-time as well. Ben McGlynn, little chip there, coming back into the side this week. Now Petrie gives it to McKenzie and he goes from 60 metres with a bomb. Big goal for the Kangaroos, and the margin was only 8 points at three-quarter time. Tight final quarter. Boomer Harvey kicked his third goal. Swans needing a steadier, and they got it in the form of Hanbury. And that was the one that really did the trick for them. Sydney Swans home by 9 points and going to the top of the ladder.